Welcome back to the Explainer, everyone. Today, we're diving straight into the absolute powerhouse of your computer, the operating system. Think about it for a sec. You click a mouse, you tap a screen, and boom, a video plays or a dock opens. But your hardware, those silicon chips and circuits, they literally only speak in ones and zeros. They have absolutely no clue what a mouse click even is. So how do we bridge that gap? Well, you need a master translator. And that is exactly what we're unpacking today.
All right, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the master translator itself, the OS. Then we'll get into a GUI versus CLI showdown. After that, we enter GNU/Linux, break down why Linux dominates, spot Linux in real life, and finally cap it off with some quick exam prep.
Okay, let's dive into Section 1, the Master Translator, Operating Systems. Every single time you power on a device, you need a bridge spanning that massive gap between you, the human, and the machine itself. So if you're prepping for exams, you absolutely need this definition locked down. An operating system, or OS, is system software that manages computer resources and acts as an interface between the user and the computer. It is basically the boss. It handles the memory, the background processes, plus all your software and hardware. And honestly, you already know some of the big players intimately. We're talking Microsoft Windows, Apple's Mac OS and iOS, Google's Android, and of course, GNU Linux. These are all operating systems, built for different devices, but ultimately serving that exact same fundamental purpose.
Moving on to Section 2, the language barrier, the GUI versus CLI showdown.
So how do we actually talk to this boss of a system? Well, there are two main languages, or interfaces, you can use to drive your computer. Think of it like driving an automatic car. That's your graphical user interface, or GUI. A GUI allows users to interact with the computer using windows, icons, menus, and a mouse, rather than typing out commands. It's incredibly user-friendly, and it's practically tailor-made for beginners because it's so visual. Whenever you're clicking around Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, or swiping on your Android phone, you are using a GUI. You see a little picture of a folder, you double-click it, and it opens. It's simple, intuitive, and automatic.
On the flip side, we've got the manual transmission. Enter the Command Line Interface, or CLI. Now, a CLI allows users to interact with the computer strictly by typing commands using the keyboard. That means no icons, no mouse pointer, nada. You actually have to know the specific typed commands to tell the computer what to do. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth would anyone want that? Well, for experienced users, it is lightning fast. Plus, it uses way fewer system resources. And a perfect example of this is the Linux terminal.
When we put these two head to head, the differences are night and day. On the GUI side, you've got icons, menus, and windows. It's super easy to use, relies heavily on your mouse and keyboard together, and hits the sweet spot for beginners. But on the CLI side, it is all text commands. You've got to know what to type. You're pretty much exclusively using the keyboard, and it is definitely built with experienced users in mind. This perfectly illustrates why beginners gravitate toward the visual ease of a GUI, while the pros swear by the raw speed and granular control of the CLI.
All right, Section 3, the open source giant. Enter GNU/Linux. Let's introduce an operating system that bridges both of those worlds completely seamlessly. GNU/Linux is a free and open source operating system widely used in personal computers, servers, and embedded systems. Now, the absolutely crucial words here are free and open source. This was a literal game changer for the tech world. It means the underlying code is out there for anyone to see, tweak, and share. You don't have to buy some expensive license to use it. It truly belongs to the community.
And what's super interesting here is the name itself. GNU is actually a recursive acronym. It stands for GNU's, not Unix. It's a classic bit of quirky programmer humor. But technically speaking, the GNU project provides all the free software tools, while the Linux kernel forms the actual core, the beating heart of the operating system. Combine them, and you get the complete package that we call GNU/Linux. Let's jump into Section 4, Features and Power, Why Linux Dominates. So why does this specific OS totally dominate the tech landscape? It really boils down to its features and advantages. These are the exact points you need to nail for your exams, but they're also the exact reasons the tech industry is obsessed with it. As we said, it's open source and free. But check out the performance side. It is highly secure and incredibly reliable. It's multi-user, so a bunch of people can use the system simultaneously. And it's multitasking, meaning it can juggle tons of programs at once without crashing. It's incredibly stable. Oh, and a massive bonus, it is significantly less affected by viruses compared to your standard operating systems. Because it's open source, the customization options are practically endless. People can actually take that core Linux kernel and build their own custom operating systems around it. We call these distributions, or distros for short. Some huge examples you absolutely should know are Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian, Red Hat, and Linux Mint. Every single one gives you the raw power of Linux, but with a completely different flavor or focus, depending on what kind of user you happen to be.
So let's tie this back to our earlier showdown between interfaces. The beauty of Linux is that it doesn't force you to choose between the automatic and the manual car. It handles both perfectly. If you're a beginner, you can grab a distribution like Ubuntu Desktop, which serves up a gorgeous, mouse-driven GUI with windows and icons. But if you're a hardcore system admin who needs that lightning-fast control, you just fire up the terminal and bang out your commands using the CLI. It really is the best of both worlds.
Which brings us to Section 5, Mind-Blowing Scale, Linux in Real Life.
You know, you might actually be using Linux at this exact moment without even realizing it. Do you have an Android phone in your pocket? Well, the entire Android operating system is built right on top of the Linux kernel. Honestly, every time you search the web, stream a movie, or rely on cloud computing, you're interacting with Linux. Why? Because it powers the vast majority of the internet servers, it runs massive supercomputers, it's the backbone for educational institutions, and it's the go-to environment for global software development. It's literally everywhere.
All right, Section 6, the exam room showdown. Quick revision.
Okay, focus learners. You've got the theory down, and you understand the real-world scale. Now, let's step into the exam room for a rapid-fire review. We'll kick things off with the one-mark questions. I'm going to pause for just a beat. Try to answer these in your head before I do. Ready? Define GUI. Define CLI. Define GNU/Linux. Got 'em? All right, so GUI is your graphical, mouse-driven, super easy interface with all the icons. CLI is the keyboard-driven, lightning-fast interface that uses typed commands. And GNU/Linux is the free, open-source operating system powering everything from your PC to global servers.
Moving on to the 2-mark questions. Can you state 4 features or advantages of GNU/Linux? Think back to that bulleted list we just covered. You have a massive pool to pull from here. It's secure, it's stable, it's free and open source, it's multi-user, it's multitasking, and it's highly resistant to viruses. Seriously, just lock in 4 of those keywords and you've secured those marks. Easy.
And finally, let's tackle the heavy hitters, the 3- and 5-mark questions. Differentiate GUI and CLI and explain Linux features with examples. For this one, just close your eyes and visualize that comparison table we walked through earlier. Contrast the mouse versus the keyboard, the beginner versus the expert. After that, list out those key Linux features and drop in some specific distribution examples, like Ubuntu or Red Hat. If you structure your answers exactly like the slides we covered today, you are absolutely going to ace this. So, there you have it. You now know exactly what an operating system is, why Linux absolutely dominates the globe, and the fundamental differences between clicking an icon and typing a command. But here's the real question I want to leave you with. Now that you know what the CLI terminal actually is, are you ready to learn the commands to control it? In our next explainer, we're going to crack open that terminal, ditch the mouse completely, and learn exactly how to talk directly to the machine. Until then, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.